if we want to find a definition from A Father from Hell, we probably see the name Ronald G Simmons. And, I mean, really, it should be added to the definition of A Father from Hell. If you missed this series, I have part 1 from last Friday that I will have linked down below. And then I have the part 2 on my Patreon page. So if you're part of the Patreon family, please head on over there where I shared part 2 on Saturday. Now, let's talk about Ronald, shall we? On Monday morning, December 28th, 1987, Ronald Simmons armed himself and kept a list of people he needed to get rid of. He had to go around his tiny town of Russellville, Arkansas. The first stop was at a law firm where he got rid of Kathy Kendricks, who was only 24 years old, and she was the secretary there. Ronald used to work with her in a previous job that he had for a trucking company. Then he headed to a former employer, a mini mart that he recently quit working at, and got rid of Jim Caffin, who was 33 years old at the time, and then he wounded 3 more people. Then he surrendered and said, "It is over," handing the gun to the police. Now, the police didn't know what they were about to find out, because if you think that what I just told you was bad, what is coming is a lot worse. When the police went to his very deplorable home, they found his wife, their children together, and their grandchildren, 14 bodies in total. And it happened over the course of several days. The first one was on December 22nd. That day, I remember it. My sister was born. I hated my sister, so I remember December 22nd, 1987. And I can't believe that this was happening at that time. I can't believe it. That day, he got rid of Ronald's wife, his wife, his oldest son, who was visiting, and the son's daughter, who was only 3 years old. Later that day, on December 22nd, still, the school bus dropped off their children that still had at home, 4 of them. And he got rid of them too, one by one. The remains were put in a pit in their property. Then he decided to stay at home, get drunk, and watch TV. On December 26th, he continued. His older children, Sheila and Billy, arrived for a dinner party they had arranged with their mother. They came separately, and he started to get rid of them as they entered them one by one, and scattered their bodies around the home. The youngest babies, grandchildren, were put in the trunk of the car, while the daughter was covered with her own coat. Now you're probably wondering, well, this is horrible, and even though I didn't give you the details, because I think I can spare you that for this case, let's talk about who Ronald G Simmons was. According to the neighbors, they always worried about him and his family. He was an Air Force veteran that seemed like he was suffering from some kind of PTSD, or maybe something worse. if you're wondering, what they saw is some of his odd behaviors, including reading everyone's mail before they send it out. So think about, I'm gonna write a letter to my friend in Nebraska. Well, your dad had to read it first. There was no home phone, no indoor plumbing, which meant that the children hold the water in the house that they needed. And when they needed to use the bathroom, they had to dig a cat hole. And sadly, that's where most of the bodies ended up. Now, at the time, they didn't know, as things were progressing. But later on, they found out that he abused his daughter Sheila when she was a teenager, and that Sheila's oldest daughter was his dad's daughter. Her name was Sylvia. Now, for a very manipulative guy who probably you think that had everyone under his command and under his control, and who managed to get away with a whole lot of crazy things that he shouldn't have. The motives of these crazy things were quite a few, honestly. His wife was about to leave him. His daughter got married and condemned him for molesting her when she was a teenager. He also made several unwanted advances unsuccessfully to the secretary who used to work with him for a trucking company, and now she moved to the law firm. Now, there was no doubt he did it. He even gave the gun to the police and said, "I'm done." So why do it? And why was he part of the insanity talk? For somebody that got rid of his entire family, I'm talking about daughters, sons, wife, grandchildren. Why was even the insanity thing part of that deal? Well, he did it, and then he gave it to the police, the gun, and he didn't plan to get away with it. And according to his behaviors, the fact that the indoor plumbing, the fact that what he was making do, and the controlling behaviors that he had towards the kids really was what led them to believe that he had some kind of a mental problem, or a mental illness, I should say. But he didn't qualify for insanity. He was okay, according to expert, to stand trial, and he was executed on May 31st of 1990. So they didn't put up with the guy for that long. That happened December of 87, and he was executed in 1990. So maybe a year and a few months. Again, I think that this is the perfect name for this guy. A father from hell. Yes, that's equal. Ronald G Simmons. And this is the kind of cases that kind of put the other ones with true insanity cases in a place where people start to wonder. I mean, if you ask me, do you think he had a mental illness? No, I think he was used to getting away with it. I think he was a piece of crap kind of guy, and that he manipulated everyone to do whatever the heck he wanted. And he thought that he was going to get away with it forever. And then you realize everything is going to hell. I'm gonna lose my wife. I'm gonna be looked as a predator, and just overall something that you didn't want. So what a horrible ending to an entire family And what a case that wanted to be part of that insanity that leads a man, or that leads a guy to commit this. And again, there's no excuse for what he did, and I think we kind of threw out the table the idea of insanity. But this was the third very well known and documented case of a father, a husband, who decided that it was better to get rid of everyone. Such a horrible ending for this series, though, because the previous two did have insanity, kind of thrown there in the trial. And, they were people with documented mental illness. But see, I wanted to include this because how this case, like a case like this, can throw everything off the table and kind of make you wonder, in other cases, are they really insane, or are they doing it because they're evil? I was told, you guys, I have that itch in me to know if it's really there is a chemistry or something in our brains that make us different from the people that are capable of committing these horrible crimes, from other people that really cannot even fathom the idea of, I don't know, killing a fly. I always wonder, there must be something physically different between people that are capable of doing this and people that are not capable. As I always tell you guys, there's a lot of cases where there's a lot of marriages that are being broken today. They're going to get a divorce because of money problems. Yet there are guys today that are thinking about how they can get rid of their problem by getting rid of the wife instead of getting a divorce. What is it in that people that come up with the idea that they can do whatever they want and still think that they can get away with it? I don't know. I don't have the answer. I wish that I'm still alive at the day that they discover that there is a little something in the people capable of committing these horrible things, rapists and serial killers and whatever. And if I get demonetized, whatever, but you know what I mean, those people that you want to call by what they are. I wish that one day I can sit in front of the TV and listen to the news that I'm like, oh, we found it. There's a red dot in the middle of their brain, and that's why they're capable of doing it, and the rest of people are not. We can fix it. We can get rid of that red thing. We can make it better. Today, there's not. And even though I would love to say that these are the three cases and